Our world continues to change and push us in ways we have not been challenged before. On this show, we talk about these challenges, how to be aware of them, face them, and overcome them in your life. This is David Waldas, creator of the Aligned Living System.
And I'm Nick Musica, Aligned Living Coach. Welcome to the Aligned Living System podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Aligned Living System podcast. This is David Waldas here with Nick Musica. Topic today is, what does it look like to be ready to do deep personal development work? And, Nick and I were just chatting. It's nice. We had a half hour to catch up this morning before we recorded this time. Things have been so hectic lately. We haven't had much time to chat, and we meandered through our conversation on a multitude of topics. And we're really thinking about, like, what is it that people want? How is our podcast valuable to people? And we tend to talk about a lot of higher level stuff, maybe stuff that's really valuable to people that are already in the Aligned Living container, people that are already doing this work. But what does it look like for somebody who just comes across our podcast and, how is it of value to them? Is the paradigm in a different place than where most people enter into Aligned Living? And I think it absolutely is. Like, what we've been talking about makes a lot of sense inside the container. Probably super confusing if you're not already doing the Aligned Living work. And so that led us to the idea of, well, what does it look like when people come to us? Like, where are they at when they show up and they want to work with us and they want to do this work and are really ready to do this deeper work? And, I know for me personally, particularly the one-to-one clients, and I see it with the group stuff too. I definitely see it with the coach training. So I guess I see it with everybody, is that they hang out around me for 6 months, maybe a year. And they kind of do these little touch points with me. And it's like their psyche needs that much time to be ready to go through the transformation that they know this is. Like, we psych ourselves out. And it's funny, almost every client goes, God, I've been planning on starting this with you for like 6 months. That's usually, sometimes it's a year, but quite often it's like 6 months. And for whatever reason, and it's often whatever it is that they haven't been dealing with, it has become a big enough of a nuisance. It has become painful enough in their life that they kind of come in a little bit like, I got to do something, and what I'm doing now isn't working. And it's kind of funny to put ourselves through that pain. I mean, not funny, haha, but funny, like, well, I'll let you say, Nick, because I think you were saying it well before we got on the call. So good morning, Nick.
Good morning.
How are you doing, man?
Good. I'm getting caffeined up after a little morning surf this morning.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I didn't realize you surfed this morning. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fun. It was terrible conditions, but it's just fun to get in the water sometimes.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's salt water. It's always so good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you were saying something interesting before we got
what did I say
on the call.
What was I saying?
But what does it look like to be ready? Like, what does readiness look like to do this work?
Yeah. I think I think there's symptoms of ready, and you were calling out some of them, which is like exactly how painful. Right? Because like on a scale of 1 to 10, 5 painful that's not enough. 6,
that's not an action
not.
changer. Yeah.
No. 7. I'm listening to the conversations. 8, like, I'm stepping closer into them. I may say a word or two. 9, like, I'm wondering how much it costs. 10, I'm like, now, please. Right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Can we
8,
can
9.
we do
I'm
it
still
now?
looking for obstacles to keep me from having to do this. Yeah, for
Yeah,
reasons
I'm
to not do
quite,
it. Yeah.
I'm not quite there, but 10,
Yeah.
something disappears at 10.
Yeah, nerve pain.
And it's like, I've just had enough. It's like when you're done with the situation, you're just like, I'm just done with it. I'm done with the job. I'm done with the relationship. I'm done with the thing. I'm done with the car. I'm done with whatever. And like,
I'm done with
it's just,
myself.
yes. I'm sick and tired of, being sick and tired.
Yeah.
So tell me again what you do. How does it work? Okay, sounds great. When can we begin?
And clients almost always tell me, like, I knew that I was supposed to work with you the moment I met you, and I just needed a year or 6 months or 3 years in some
Yeah.
cases. And like I just needed some more suffering. I needed to make it really painful. I needed to really have enough, commitment
Yeah.
to this really sucks and I can't do it anymore. And so it had to suck just enough for me to cross that threshold rather than just saying, oh, this is going to do some really good things for me.
Yeah.
And this is the life I want to live.
Yeah.
It's whatever. It's just part of the human condition until we start to make those decisions. And then the next time we make it like, oh, it doesn't have to get that painful anymore. I can see how this will help me. And I can see how I have some blind spots. I can see how I have some things about me that are starting to feel a bit gross. Not that they're
Yeah.
gross in some horrible way, but that I just can't do them anymore. And when we do things that we don't know why we're still doing them and we find ourselves doing them, that starts to feel gross.
Yeah. I think you're the one who brought this to my attention. I have this lovely slash not lovely characteristic about me where I can go, I'll use surf shop as the example. I can go into the surf shop, see a beautiful surfboard,
Yeah.
take it off the rack, do a whole lot of imagining with it, put it back on
Mhm.
the rack, and not feel any way about it leaving
Mhm.
the board in the shop. But I can do that for too long. I can go back and find another board and then the same board. I can do it for days and weeks and months on end. And at some point, like during that process, I could have actually needed a surfboard,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but I'll still go in there and just look at it.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
like there's a really good quality of not being attached to it, but then there's this quality of not going for it.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, and the complacency of like, "Oh, my board's fine."
It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I the one I
My
rode
life's
this
fine.
morning. Yeah.
Yeah, and,
I rode a surfboard for I had a surfboard
yeah.
this morning. I'm talking to a guy and he's like, "What are you riding?" I'm like, "This board. I've had it for 20 years and I love this board. The fins are worth more than the board itself at this point, right? The $100 fins worth more than the board. And it could be time for a new board.
Yeah, and that can be
But it's
exciting.
like, it could be exciting, right? And there's a whole new aliveness that comes with it.
A little
Learning
bit
it,
new learning curve.
totally, totally different.
Yeah,
Same
yeah,
activity, totally different.
yeah, and, that piece like, when we wake up in the morning, are we excited? Like, do we wake up and go, "Oh, I get to do this today. I'm excited about who I've become. I'm excited about who I'm not anymore." Like, that feeling? Or do people wake up and go,
So, so what? So when do you recall your first experience with personal development, a coach, something that you would dump into the personal development bucket? Do you remember your first time? I remember
Yeah,
mine.
I would say the big one, I went to Landmark Forum in New York City, and it was so intense. I was probably like 32, maybe. And I mean, I'd done some other personal development stuff, but nothing that really held you in it. Nothing that said you're going to go through a transformation, and your ticket to that transformation was buying the entry into this experience. Not I'm going to sit with you and see if you transform, but like you have purchased an entry into this container and this container transforms, and you don't have an option about that. You already made the choice. You entered the container,
Yeah.
right? And that was like, holy shit, there was nowhere to turn. There was nowhere to escape it. There was nowhere to go into another aspect of myself. There was nowhere to make up stories. It was just at that point like the most intense self confrontation I'd ever had, and I got so dizzy, so disoriented, and I was just like, I heard this is intense, and this is so intense. And I wrote it through and did all the things that they said to do. And it was a complete turning point for my life. And I look at Landmark Forum and, you can say what you want about Landmark. And, a lot of people feel like it's kind of cultish, but like I didn't continue into the other stuff. They have a really strong recruiting perspective.
Hmm. Hmm.
And, you could see because they want everybody else to have that incredible experience. Some people think it's because of finances, but again, that's not really relevant to what we're talking about. What is relevant is that when I entered that container, there was no turning away. I remember doing it in New York City. I was like, I could have picked a little less intense place to do this because there's like people standing up, getting like 500 people in the room, and people standing up and getting in confrontations with the person leading it. And I'm like, this is a setup. Like this is crazy. It's like, doing this exercise where we're going deep inside ourselves. All of a sudden, somebody starts
Triggering.
screaming hysterically, sitting behind me. I'm like, what the? It was just like, this is a room with a lot of unstable people in it. being
Yeah.
forced to look at themselves. It was crazy.
Do you
And it
remember the
was,
emotions that came up for you?
I mean, it was a lot of shock and overwhelm. And, and I think that that happens for us at first is there's like a numbness that comes in, and it's like what defense mechanism can I protect myself with to the intensity of what I'm experiencing? And then it was like, it was confusion. It felt like the room was spinning. It felt like numbness. And then I started to see things. And then nausea was part of it, right? Like feeling really sick to my stomach, trying to find maybe a place to blame, and then that not working either because the container just didn't allow for it. And so it was like, I often talk about, trying to fight our way out of a paper bag. And it's like, that kind of flailing around rather than just pulling the bag off, or being in the bag and breathing and going, okay, what's going on in here? And so, it's like what is it, like a 3-day event or something like that. And so going through it, like it was so intense. And then leaving and going out into New York City, like it was just, everything was stacked for that particular event for me. And I think it was perfect because there was no break. There was no turning away. And it's like 14-hour days and so, yeah, that piece of knowing on the other side of like, oh, I can actually handle being confronted with myself. I can actually handle seeing, the shit about me that I didn't want to see. I can handle my dysfunction and looking squarely at it. And when I do that, I get to do something about it. And then it just became like, once I knew I could handle it, all I wanted to do was reveal my dysfunction to myself so that I could do something about it. Like it became rather, fixated on personal development because I realized like, holy shit, like look how different my life already is. And I know there's more. And this is
Yeah.
so exciting. I'm like picking up every stone, and I don't think that's ever stopped for me. It doesn't have the same urgency, but the moment there's an awareness, like my awareness is always in this place of like, is there something here that I haven't seen in myself yet? Is there
Yeah.
some nuance even? And it keeps getting refined and refined and refined, but it becomes such an exciting way to live because we're also at the same time living in all the perks and benefits of having done all that work, and our life reflects it and continues to reflect it deeper and deeper and bigger and bigger. And so that readiness for that work, we think about, God, I'm gonna have to look at these things, or like I don't even know what it is, I just feel overwhelmed thinking about it. And then it just opens up this treasure chest on the other side of it. But that initiation into deeper work, and people may say like, oh, I do this work, but like I've had a lot of coaches that never held me in a place that forced me to see myself. And when you have a coach or a program or something that holds you in a place that forces you to see yourself, that's very different than self-exploration. It's the deeper work. And that
Yeah.
piece where you can't turn away, you can't distract yourself, you can't, like, it's just not allowed in that container. Something pops, and then all of a sudden there's just all this, traction and like safety that comes from being able from knowing that you can handle your own dysfunction and seeing it.
Yeah. When you were chatting, I was reflecting on your Harrison score of self-improvement. I forget exactly what it was, but it's high. I think it was one of the life
Yeah.
themes, one of the top 5
Yeah,
traits.
absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And I think that as I got into it first, like it was more important to me than building anything, because I was like, I'm not ready to build yet. I gotta,
Yeah.
like, I wanted everything to be readiness to build, and eventually it turned into building. But I was so infatuated with personal growth and coming back to myself and breaking apart all the old paradigms
Yeah.
and ways of being and just bringing it down to the ground.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, let me know if I get this wrong. I think you and I, at least historically, have shared my inner world is more interesting than the outer world. Like
Yeah,
what goes on up in here is way
yeah,
more interesting.
absolutely, and it drives the outer world, right? Because if the outer world's more interesting than the inner world, then the outer world drives the inner world. If the inner
Yeah.
world's more interesting, then the inner world drives the outer world.
Yeah. Well, ideally drives it.
Yeah,
Yeah. For me, for a while, it's just like, this is really interesting, but what is actually being produced?
yeah, yeah. And if it's just confusion and we're just wandering around, that's what our outer world looks like.
Yeah.
But once we really, and that's what I love about line living, is it just grounds us really quickly into like traction. Like I feel sovereignty and I feel efficacy. Like I feel like I'm clear in myself, and I feel like I have the ability to do something.
Yeah.
And when that's present for us, like everything's better. But the moment we're not clear and the moment we don't feel like we have efficacy over our life, it doesn't work. And what happens is a lot of people don't get clear. They just try to claim, efficacy in their life. And they're just, their ego's just controlling everything
And
as
that, and I
opposed
mean,
to
that
from that place of clarity.
I've seen people do what you're talking about. And from the outside,
Yeah, it looks
at a
successful.
super, holy shit, like a lot
Yeah.
of money, growing teams, a
Yep.
functional business.
Yep.
And then eventually it catches up.
Yeah.
Something
Yep.
happens, right?
Yep.
The bottom drops out for whatever reason, and it's a rinse and repeat, or you hit this cap, and now people are your team is not happy. Something
Or they just reach a
happens.
place of like, this doesn't do it for me. Like,
Yeah,
I'm so glad that I can create this and I see how powerful I am, but it's not interesting. It doesn't really support me. It's not really me. And, and, and that's who most of my one-to-one clients, when they come to me now, are people that have built these huge things that are highly successful. And they're
yes.
just like, I just don't feel fulfilled from it,
It, it
because
doesn't
it was
matter.
built,
It
it
doesn't
was
matter.
built through, I have power and influence in my life, but I don't have that sovereign clarity that says this is really what lights me up. And because
Purpose,
we're
meaning,
resolving our
whatever those
childhoods.
words are. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Like it's just that the results were a vehicle to getting to a point of realizing the shit doesn't matter. And now what?
yeah, yeah,
Now
yeah,
what are we doing about it?
yeah, yeah. I've proven this. Now there's nothing left to prove here. Like, and that's now it's boring. Now it's boring.
Yeah, right, right. And sitting on the opposite side of the chair, you're like, tell me more about this
This
multi-million
boring
dollar.
massive wealth that you have.
Right, right. Explain. I'm gonna take notes this time. Hold on one second. And it doesn't the volume of the paycheck of the top line revenue. It doesn't matter. It's the
Yeah,
same
once you have
thing. A
what you
lot of
need.
people.
Yeah, yeah,
It doesn't matter whether you're making $1 a day or $1 million a day. It's
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's some people
I'm
that are
tired.
chasing like the next level, the next level, the next level, and they come in because they're just like, why isn't this enough? Why do I need to have even more when I have more than I could ever use?
Yeah, yeah. So what do you find with those folks?
I mean, I think it's just it's always that childhood piece of like, there's a part of me that if I don't dominate my surroundings, then they come after me, and so
Mm,
I always have to keep out creating, out building. But then they're on the this never ending treadmill of chasing and running, trying to find safety, and the safety's always moved away because the feeling they have to out create anything coming at them and dominate, 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 versus I am so powerful that I don't need to dominate anything. I'm actually the
yeah,
structure of my world. And when we
yeah,
come back into that grounding inside of ourselves, instead of that, out fighting the world, and we're in holding the stability of our kingdom, so to speak, it's a whole different experience of like stabilizing inside of ourselves rather than running around, conquering the world.
yeah, yeah. Oh, that's
And then we can rest, right? And then we can enjoy, and then we get to benefit from, as opposed to it just being, like, I got to go take another continent. I need to, it's like that.
yeah, yeah. Right. And we can see some of that playing out at the global scale today. Just a little bit. At least three spots that I can think of. Yeah, not enough, and what that creates, and then what you
Yeah.
put on other people. Not enough for what?
Hmm.
What are we doing this for? Because not
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't seem like that's worth my time. And then there's this disengagement that leaders feel, and like I don't understand why my team's not showing up. What's the vision you said? Not enough. Who gives a
Yeah.
shit?
Yeah. Conquering. Yeah. And if they wanted to conquer, they wouldn't be following you. They would be out conquering something else themselves. And
Yeah,
they may get something out of it by being the sidekick for a while, by being the general of the army for the,
totally. You recruited them, you enrolled them, you inspired them, and
and then it
now they're
wears out.
fucking burnt out and they're
Yeah.
tired
Hmm.
and they don't understand why they're doing what they're doing.
Hmm.
And neither do you.
Yeah.
Why am I doing all
Yeah.
these things? Because more.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
Because more.
And because it made me happy at first, so if I do more of it, that happiness will return.
Totally. I mean,
Yeah.
it was when I was working for other folks and doing the SEO thing. internally. Like more was very exciting. Up and to the right, up
Mhm.
and to the right, it was super exciting.
Yeah.
And then there's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
with the traffic
I'm good
came
at this.
revenue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, right, right. And
Mhm.
then at some point, I'm like, what am I? Mm,
Who gives a shit?
who cares? Who cares? Like, what's the point of it? So then
Mhm.
to use that skill for folks where there is a point is way more
Mhm. Mhm.
meaningful than, not I never worked in cigarettes, but like, I'm gonna grade some of the things I did harshly. Like insurance, like we all need it,
Mhm.
but that's it's the same product. Like when it
Yep.
comes right
Yep.
down to it, it's the same product. It's managed by the state department of insurance or a relative
Mhm. Mhm.
firm,
Mhm.
organization in each state. Does it
Yep.
really matter? No. You it's a compliance thing. You need to get it and pick a vendor.
Yeah. Hopefully one
Pick
you
a
can get on the
vendor.
phone that can help you
That's
if you
right.
need them.
That's
Right?
right.
That's
And
the
that's really the big difference is
yeah.
customer
Yep.
service.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
I worked for companies like that for a long time, and then it didn't matter. So to
Yeah.
use the same skill set for a different purpose, it changes the game.
Yeah. And it is. It always comes back to discovering who I am, what I really want, what really lights me up. And most of us are in some sort of survival game.
Yeah.
And, some people it's about building massive wealth. Some people it's about building relationships around them that make them feel safe. Some people it's about, isolation that makes them feel safe. But we're all in some sort of survival game. And that's I think what keeps us from really stepping into the deeper personal development is the idea that it's going to affect that in some way. That things are going to feel very unsafe because our survival game always has a dysfunction to it. And I don't think it's very conscious. I think it's very unconscious, but I think people are afraid that their survival game is going to get messed with. And I always call it like our secret plan. And our secret plan is a secret to us, right? And so it's all the things we do to create safety around us. And when we reveal our secret plan to ourselves, we go, oh my God, I've been doing all these things I didn't realize I was doing unconsciously in order to achieve this thing that I thought would make me feel safe or powerful, some version of safe. And that's why I've actually been putting this off is I didn't want to reveal my secret plan to myself. But by revealing my secret plan to myself, now I have actually all this control and clarity. And
Yeah.
I see what I actually really want. And life gets very exciting. And I
Yeah.
just have to be willing to go through the disorientation of it.
Totally.
But it's fantastic because that's once. And
Yeah.
then there's the rest of our life.
I mean, the beautiful thing of that realization is by the time you get there, you're a very capable person, have a
Mm-hmm.
lot
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
capacities for competencies that have built whatever you've built. And
Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
get
You're
to
not
this
just
place
dropped
where,
off.
right. And now the secret plan, AKA conditioning and habits, those get to be unwind, you unravel them, and then you get to put together the pieces based on values that you actually align with
Yeah.
and then build
Yeah.
something
Your
using the
deepest truth.
skills. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's funny.
that's
I,
way
I was
better.
working with a potential client exploration call. See if you can do some one-to-one work with me. And I got this channel. It was so funny because going through a lot and being confronted with a lot at that place where like I can't put this off anymore. I need to take some action. And here's the channel I got was this is going to be the second hardest thing that you've ever done. This work that we're going to do together. And I said the good news though is, and this was what I was being shown. The good news is that you're currently doing the hardest thing you've ever done. And so the fact that this is actually easier than that, even though it's the second hardest thing you've ever done, like that's good news. And that's why you're ready to do this is because you're currently doing the hardest thing you've ever done. And it doesn't need to be that way, but it's often how it is. And we can wait until it becomes the second hardest thing we've ever done. Or we can go, you know what? Like, yeah, this is a lot. And then all of a sudden it's not a lot. All of a sudden it's so fun and so exciting. But I mean, I think people that speak feel that way. It's like, oh, now I finally trust myself to do this. People that, whatever, name the big thing you're doing. It's so much to step into it. And then all of a sudden, if it's a match for you, you're just like, this is freaking great, even though it's a lot to step into every time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think and this was certainly my experience was there's a game of uncle, right? Like bending the
Mm.
arm and like at what
Yeah.
point
Yeah.
at what point do you say please stop, uncle?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
after that, I love the word you used earlier, initiation. Then it's proactive. But I think in the beginning it's highly reactive of
Yeah.
uncle, help, please, raise my hand.
Yeah.
Who's available?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. I'm in
And
the
then we see the
foxhole.
benefit, and
Mm-hmm.
then there's more self-generative
Yeah.
wanting, seeking, doing from
Yeah.
there.
And the idea of how do we know when we're ready? Well, you can actually make that decision. You don't need to have that decision made for you. And that's a pretty helpless feeling when you're like, I have nowhere else to turn. I'm finally going to give in and do this work versus I can see where this road is headed. I'm going to go ahead and do the work now. Like I don't need to wait until, the only thing in front of me is a cliff.
You can bring that car in for maintenance, or you can wait till it breaks on the road. You choose. You choose how you want to get it, how you want to take care of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't want to stop because I was just so afraid of what the mechanic was going to tell me. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. So good, man. Well, hope that this is relatable and helpful. And the deeper work is so rewarding. But I couldn't imagine living another way. All right. Well, have a great week, everyone. Love to hear from you. Feedback and where you'd like us to go with these discussions. We love doing this and it's fun for us. We'd want it to be useful for you all too. So yeah, communicate. Let us know. All right. Have a great week. See y'all next week. We hope you enjoyed listening to today's podcast. And if you did, please subscribe so you can catch the next episode. If you want to learn more about the Aligned Living System and how it could support you in your life, check out davidwaldas.com.